Hello students, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Dr. Ayushi Paliwal from University of Delhi. So today we are going to discuss about the module Radiative Transitions, Optical Absorption and LEDs from the paper Electronics. So students, let us see what we are going to learn in this module. First, we will discuss about the radiative transitions, including the EM spectra from UV to IR. Secondly, the basic transitions in a semiconductor will be discussed. Thirdly, the stimulated and spontaneous emission rate will be discussed in this module. Next, we will discuss about the optical absorption in semiconductors. Lastly, the light emitting diodes LED will be discussed in this module. So students, let us start with a basic introduction about the module. Photonic devices are those where photons plays a major role. Photonic devices, they are divided into three groups. Devices that converts electrical energy into optical energy, that is LED and diode laser. Laser, light amplification by stimulated emission of radiation. Secondly, the devices that detects the optical signals through electronic process, that is photodetectors. Thirdly, the devices that converts optical energy into electrical energy, or we can say the photovoltaic devices or solar cells. Radiative transitions. Let us now first discuss the EM spectra from UV to IR. The regions corresponding to the wavelength for ultraviolet, visible and infrared are shown in this figure below, which shows the optical EM spectrum. So the visible range of human eye is 0.4 to 0.7 micron, that is ranging from violet to red. So for conversion of lambda to photon energy h nu, we have lambda equal to c by nu, that is equal to hc by h nu, which is equal to 1.24 divided by h nu in electron volt micrometer, where c is the velocity of light. That is, if we take an example for the green light, which is having wavelength 0.5 micrometer, this implies 2.48 electron volt of photon energy h nu. Radiative transitions. Basically, three processes for interaction between a photon and an electron in a solid are: first is the absorption, second spontaneous emission, and third is stimulated emission. So this figure shows these three possibilities of transition of an atom from the energy level E2, that is the higher energy level, to E1. Any transition between E1 and E2 involves the emission or absorption of photon with frequency nu12 such that nu12 equal to E2 minus E1. At RT, mostly atoms in a solid are at ground state. So the situation is disturbed when a photon of energy exactly equal to h nu12 is incident on the system. An atom in E1 state absorbs the photon energy and goes to the excited state E2. This is absorption process. Let us now discuss the spontaneous emission, where the excited state of atom is unstable and after a short time, without any external stimulus, it makes a transition to the ground state, as shown in figure B, giving off a photon of energy h nu 12. Next is the stimulated emission. When a photon of energy h nu 12 is incident on an atom having excited state, as shown in figure C, it stimulates to make a transition to ground state and gives off a photon of energy h nu 12, which is in phase with the incident radiation. So the radiation from stimulated emission is monochromatic, since each photon has energy h nu 12, and is coherent since all photons emitted are in phase. Basic transitions in a semiconductor. Note that all transitions are not radiative and can occur in the same material or under same conditions. An efficient luminescent material is the one which radiative transitions predominate over non-radiative transitions. So the four ways a radiation transition can occur in a semiconductor are described below and are shown in this figure. First one is the intrinsic band-to-band transition involving the recombination of electron-hole pair. It is radiative and has a high probability of occurrence only in a direct band-gap semiconductor. And emitted photon energy, that is h nu, is equal to Eg. Second, extrinsic recombination between a hole bound to a neutral acceptor and a free electron in the conduction band. Third one is the excitation recombination involving the acceptor type trap levels very close to the conduction band edge, which becomes negatively charged after capturing an electron from conduction band due to n-doping p site in gallium phosphide. A hole from valence band gets bound to the trap level due to Coulombic attraction, and electron-hole pair remains in excited state until recombines by emitting a photon. Fourth, extrinsic process of donor-acceptor pair recombination. Electron from conduction band is captured by ionized donor and a hole from valence band captured by ionized acceptor. Subsequent transition of electron from Ed to Ea emits a photon having energy Ed minus Ea. So band-to-band Auger recombination, trap-assisted Auger recombination, and recombination process via deep levels are non-radiative. Let us now discuss about the stimulated emission and spontaneous emission rate. Let us assume that the instantaneous populations of E1 and E2 are N1 and N2 respectively. So under a thermal equilibrium condition and for E2 minus E1 is greater than 3 kT, the population is given by Boltzmann distribution, that is N2 by N1 equal to e to the power minus E2 minus K1 by KT equal to exponential minus h nu 12 by KT. In steady state, the stimulated emission rate, that is the number of stimulated emission transitions per unit time, and spontaneous emission rate must be balanced by the rate of absorption to maintain the populations N1 and N2 in E1 and E2 constant. The stimulated emission rate is proportional to the population of the upper level, that is N2, and further proportional to photon field energy density rho h nu 12, which is the total energy in the radiation field per unit volume per unit frequency. Therefore, stimulated emission rate is equal to B21 N2 rho h nu 12, where B21 is the proportionality constant, the number of electrons in E2, that is the upper level. Spontaneous emission rate is proportional to the only population of upper level, that is N2. Therefore, spontaneous emission rate is equal to A21 N2, where A21 is the proportionality constant. So, the absorption rate is proportional to the population of electrons at lower level N1 and a photon field energy density is proportional to h nu 12. So therefore, the absorption rate will be B12 N1 rho as a function of h nu 12, which is this rho h nu 12 will be the photon field energy density, where B12 is the proportionality constant. So therefore, in a steady state, the stimulated emission rate plus the spontaneous emission rate will give you the absorption rate. So this B21 N2 rho h nu 12 plus A22 N2 equal to B12 N1 rho h nu 12. Also, the stimulated emission rate divided by the spontaneous emission rate equal to B21 divided by A21 multiplied by rho h nu 12. Therefore, to enhance the stimulated emission over the spontaneous emission, rho h nu 12 must be large. For this, an optical resonant cavity is used to increase rho h nu 12. Also, stimulated emission rate divided by spontaneous emission rate equal to B21 divided by A22 multiplied by N2 by N1. So, if stimulated emission of photons is to dominate over the absorption of photons, we must have N2 to be greater than N1. This implies population inversion, since under an equilibrium condition, the reverse is true. So the dominant operating process for LED is spontaneous emission. For laser, it is stimulated emission, and for photodetector or solar cell, it is absorption. Let us now discuss about the optical absorption. So this figure shows the three types of optical absorption processes. The first one is h nu equal to Eg. Second one, h nu is greater than Eg. And the third one is h nu less than Eg. So the basic transitions in a semiconductor, the first one, when h nu is equal to Eg, that is photons are absorbed to create the electron-hole pairs, is shown in figure A. H nu is greater than Eg, electron-hole pairs are generated, and the excess energy h nu minus Eg is dissipated as heat, as shown in figure B. Now both these are intrinsic or band-to-band transitions. Now for h nu less than Eg, photon will absorb on if energy states are available in the forbidden gap due to chemical physical defects. As shown in figure C, this is extrinsic transition and the discussion is valid for reverse situation. Photon flux in semiconductors. Let the photons of energy h nu greater than Eg be incident on a semiconductor and flux phi naught. Units of photons per centimeter square per second as shown in this figure. So as the photon flux travels through the semiconductor, fraction of photons absorbed which is proportional to the intensity of flux. Therefore, number of photons absorbed within an incremented distance delta x is proportional to alpha the phi x delta x equal to alpha phi x delta x, where alpha is the proportionality constant defined as the absorption coefficient. From continuity of photon flux as shown in this figure, we have phi x plus delta x minus phi x equal to d phi x by dx multiplied by delta x equal to minus alpha phi x delta x. This implies d phi x by dx equal to minus alpha phi x. So here the negative sign indicates the decreasing intensity of photon flux due to absorption, and the solution of it with the boundary condition phi x equal to phi naught at x equal to 0 is phi x equal to phi naught at x equal to 0, which is given by phi x equal to phi naught exponential minus alpha x. So at x equal to w, that is the other end, the fraction of photon flux that exits from the semiconductor is phi w equal to phi naught e to the power minus alpha w. And here alpha is a function of h nu and it decreases rapidly with lambda increasing at the cutoff wavelength lambda c, that is lambda c equal to 1.24 by Eg micrometer. Since optical band to band absorption becomes negligible for h nu less than Eg or lambda greater than lambda c. Light emitting diodes LED. PN junctions that can emit spontaneous emission in UV, visible or IR, they are termed as light emitting diodes LEDs. Applications of LED in infrared range comprises of opto-isolators, optical fiber communication, whereas in UV and visible range, it can be used in making instruments. Light emission from semiconductor involves basically three processes. First is the excitation process, where electron-hole pairs are produced. Second is a recombination process, where excited carriers they release energy via radiative or non-radiative process. Third is the extraction of passage of emitted photons from the active region of semiconductor to the observer. Efficiency of LED, it can be assigned to each processes, and overall efficiency of LED is a combination of these three efficiencies. So excitation, injection of minority carriers through a forward biased junction in mostly LEDs. So other methods of excitations are avalanche excitation and tunneling. Avalanche excitation is what? Where the excess carriers they are produced by impact ionization process that causes the avalanche breakdown in semiconductors. Now consider the carrier injection via forward biased PN junction. In mostly LED, dominant radiative recombination occurs only on one side of the junction, that is by proper choice of Na and Nd. For example, if we have excess carriers which are to recombine on N side, then holes from P side, they must be injected into the N side, that is by making Ip greater than In. This is made by using P plus N junction where Nd is greater than Na, very much greater than Na. So the recombination of electron-hole pairs in depletion region causes the recombination current, that is I recombination. The overall injection efficiency in a P plus N LED is eta I equal to Ip divided by Ip plus In plus I recombination. So where Ip plus In plus I recombination is the total current in the diode. So eta I increases with decrease in Ip and I recombination and In. Recombination of excess carriers. The efficiency of radiative recombination is given by eta R equal to UR by UR plus UNR equal to TNR by TNR plus TR, where UR is the radiative recombination rate, UNR is the non-radiative recombination rate, TR is the lifetime of radiative, TNR is the lifetime of non-radiative. UR is proportional to 1 by TR and UNR is proportional to 1 by TNR. Therefore, NR increases by increasing in TNR or decrease in TR. So in direct EG, gallium arsenide, TR is approximately 10 to the power minus seconds, which is very low. In indirect EG, gallium phosphide, TNR increases by nitrogen doping. Extraction of light from semiconductor. In a typical LED, photons are generated within a few micrometer of junction, and emitted photons must pass through the semiconductor to reach the surface. So, three loss mechanisms reduces the number of photons emitted. First is due to absorption within the semiconductor. Photon quantity increases with x from the junction as e to the power minus alpha x, where alpha is the absorption coefficient. Reflection loss. When light passes from the semiconductor to air due to difference in refractive index N2, semiconductor to N1 air, known as Fresnel loss. So reflection coefficient, that is R equal to N2 minus N1 by N2 plus N1 to the power 2, which is equal to 0 if N2 equal to N1. Due to total internal reflection of light which reaches the semiconductor surface at an angle greater than critical angle, using Snell's law, sin theta c equal to N1 by N2, where N2 is the refractive index of gallium arsenide semiconductor, approximately 3.66 at lambda equal to 0.8 micron, N1 equal to refractive index of air equal to 1. Now for gallium arsenide, it is equal to 16 degree, and for gallium phosphide, it is 17 degree. So total efficiency will be eta equal to eta naught multiplied by eta I multiplied by eta R. So in order to obtain a high extraction efficiency, eta naught, these losses must be minimized. Let us now discuss about the visible LED. Now I is sensitive to light with h nu greater than equal to 1.8 electron volt. Therefore, semiconductor for LED must have Eg greater than 1.8 electron volt. So the important material is gallium arsenide 1 minus Y Py ternary or AxB1 minus X Cy D1 minus Y quaternary. That is red gallium arsenide having Eg 1.4 electron volt direct band gap. Orange, yellow, green gallium phosphide Eg is approximately 2.2 electron volt indirect. So therefore, if we discuss about in the context of gallium arsenide 1 minus Y Py 0 less than Y less than 0.45, we have the direct band gap 1.42 to 1.98, and if it is 0.45 less than Y less than 1, then we have the indirect Eg, that is 1.98 to 2.2 electron volt. Therefore, Y less than 0.45 represents the probability of radiative transition is high. Y greater than 0.45, probability of radiative transition is low. Y, and here the recombination centers are incorporated to enhance the radiative process. So we have the quantum efficiency. Now where the number of photons generated per electron hole pair which decreases sharply at Y equal to 0.45 because of the change in Eg from direct to indirect. However, with nitrogen doping, efficiency increases to much higher value for Y greater than 0.45. Direct band gap LED emits red light. They are made of gallium arsenide substrate, and indirect band gap LED orange, yellow and green are made on gallium phosphide substrate. Let us now discuss the IV characteristics of LED. So forward IV for LED is similar to PN junction. In general, experimental results are represented empirically by IF proportional to exponential QV by eta kT, where eta is ideality factor and it is equal to 1 for diffusion current and equal to 2 for recombination current, and it is between 1 and 2 when both currents are comparable. So at higher current levels, experimentalists notice that the current departs from the ideal eta value and increases more gradually with forward bias. This is due to two effects. First is series resistance and second is high injection. Let us first discuss about the series resistance effect. At low or medium current levels, the IR drops across the natural regions is usually compared to kT by Q. That is, I is the forward current and R is series resistance. Next is high injection current. At high current levels, injected minority carrier density is proportional, or it is approximately majority charge carrier concentration. So under this condition, I is proportional to exponential QV by 2 kT. So I increases at slower rate under high injection condition. Therefore, total current in LED is I equal to ID exponential QV minus IR by kT plus IR exponential QV minus IR by 2 kT, where ID is the saturation current due to diffusion and IR is the saturation current due to recombination. So to increase the output power of LED, one can decrease both the IR and RS. So students, let us summarize what we have learned in this module. First, we discussed about the radiative transitions, including the EM spectra from UV to IR. Secondly, the basic transitions in a semiconductor were discussed. Thirdly, the stimulated and spontaneous emission rates were also discussed in this module. Next, we also discussed about a very important phenomena that is the optical absorption in semiconductors. Lastly, the basic operation and the theory behind the light emitting diodes LEDs were also discussed in this module. Thank you.